me, the Abbey Canucks could make adjustments on the fly as well as we did just there.
Hey-o. Nice
Well,
segue.
I mean, you look at it too, right? We're not going to be too upset about it. Like at the end of the day, the Abbey Canucks did kind of shut things down after the second period there. An unfortunate giveaway in their own zone, though. That was a pretty ugly giveaway, and not much help there for Silovs. But I think it was all three forwards were back covering for some reason. So, but when the puck gets turned out of the blue line, there's not much you can do there, eh?
Well, I mean, you're on the power play. Your number one priority there is getting possession.
Yeah.
There was no need to try and rush the play out of the zone like Carlson did, but a little bit of youth and panic setting in, right? Like you're down 2 goals. The young guys are going to try and push to the other end and try and get a goal to get within 1. And then Nielsen with a really ill-advised attempt at a body check. If you just play the puck on that one, like you're on the power play, you can't go for that hit. And then once that found the back of the net, it just kind of took the wind out of their sails. They really didn't have much after that. Not really the best team game. They kind of left Silovs high and dry on most of those goals tonight, and weren't staying out of the box when they needed to, and it's unfortunate, but is what it is. Move on to Wednesday night. Got to put it in the rearview mirror. There's definitely things to learn from. They once they kind of started getting more to their game and playing more physical, they were able to push the play a little bit. But when you're behind, you can't really play the style the Abbey Canucks want to play. So next game they're going to have to try and capitalize on scoring first and build on it instead of getting behind with a couple of bad penalties.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we saw in the last series against Colorado, where they started taking a lot of penalties, which got them in trouble. And then obviously Manny Malhotra, after the game was over, was like, listen, boys, I want you to play hard, but I got to get you to play between the whistles, because that's where a lot of this stuff is happening anyways, is outside of that. And if you can't rely on your penalty kill like you were before, you shouldn't be taking penalties as much as they did, especially early in the game.
Yep. And tonight, Texas just had everything kind of going their way. The bounces were kind of going their way. Obviously, the home crowd's on their side. Poirier with some good saves and some lucky ones that just kind of hit him through traffic. So, just one of those games that went everything right for Texas, and not a lot went right for Abbotsford. They did pot a couple of goals that looked really... They were really nice power play goals, like great plays. And, it could have been a different third period had they scored on that power play rather than giving up a shorthanded goal. But we'll never know.
Well, I was talking earlier, too, because I feel like Tristan Nielsen has been struggling a lot lately, especially when it comes to getting any points. Because, I mean, he has been quite an offensive player for the Canucks in the past, but through 15 games right now, I'll bring it up for everyone here. He's only got the 4 points so far through the first 15 games. He's a -6 as well, which is a stat that you also don't really see for Nielsen. And then tonight, like you said, he had that ill-advised attempted hit. Is this a guy maybe you sit down for a minute after a tough travel down to Texas and get someone back in the lineup like a Klimovich, or do you leave Nielsen in the lineup and let him play through his problems?
No, I would agree that it might be time to rotate Nielsen out of the lineup. He has been struggling. They do need to find a way to spark Lekkerimäki as well. He's had moments, but he needs someone other than, dissect and Sasson are good to play with, but are they really guys that are gonna get Lekkerimäki the puck in those high danger spots? Giuseppe and Sasson are two types of guys that are built to create their own space. They're not necessarily playmakers. They drive the center of the ice, and Lekkerimäki kind of plays around, outside the dots, I guess you could say. looking for the open ice rather than getting into the garbage areas. So maybe a mismatch of a bit of chemistry there, but Lekkerimäki is kind of a tough one to fit into a team like this that is kind of built of a lot of grinding type of players. That's where him and Klimovic kind of stand out. That's why Klimovic had so much success on the power play this year, but not as much success 5-on-5. Lekkerimäki had more success early in the season when he was playing with like Atu Ratu and Niels Oman, guys that are more offensive minded, the guys that are closer to making that jump to the NHL. So it's too bad that Ratu's out and Oman's still out because they would be huge to help get Lekkerimäki going.
Do you think maybe putting Lekkerimäki on a line with Carlson would end up being a good thing? Because obviously Lekkerimäki does pretty well from the face-off dots. He got some good shots, good looks tonight, and Carlson's just a beast in front of the net. So maybe slap them with like Assassin or even a Waters or something like that, and put together a line like that. Is that something you think they might look at, or have they done anything like that previously?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Even kind of putting Baines and Lekkerimäki together with
Mhm.
maybe you go Sasson up the middle with that one, or maybe that changes things. Instead of having Di Giuseppe on the one side, you have Baines kind of drive, because Baines has been playing really well. He just
Mhm.
hasn't been putting the puck in the back of the net, getting lots of assists and driving the play offensively, but he's been a bit snake bitten on the finish. So maybe you bump him up just to play with Sasson and Lekkerimäki, and that gets him going a little more too, and you find the back of the net more on the 5-on-5. Because power play did well tonight, got 2 goals. Anytime your power play can get multiple goals in a game, that's a successful night, right? So 5-on-5 is where they need to pay a little attention to the offense, and we'll see what lineup Manny comes up with on Wednesday night. I don't see many changes coming on the blue line. Um, mm,
I mean, I was gonna
yeah, it's
say
hard to say.
Hirose had a great game tonight. Hirose was all over. He had a couple good chances,
Yep.
had a couple good dashes, even shorthanded. He was looking pretty dangerous there on that shot to the front of the net. Unfortunately, Mueller couldn't finish up with the rebound in front there. But man, Hirose, after getting
Yep.
back in the lineup, scoring the only goal last game, and then looked really, really solid for the Abbey Canucks tonight.
Yeah, like I didn't really see a lot of bad play from the defense. A lot of the turnovers and misplays and mistakes were all from forwards. So it's I wouldn't say that much needs to change on the blue line. Um, you know, th- there's no there's only one goal that was even strength, right? So it's tough to evaluate the defensive play in a game like this when they did play pretty well, but it's 5-2 game, right? So it's kind of a weird one to analyze at the end of it.
Yeah.
Um, because you look at it and it's like, oh, they got blown out. Because there's no empty net goals, but they didn't really get blown out. Like the majority of the play was pretty even. It's
Mhm.
just they lost the special teams battle in this game, lopsidedly, and that was the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look, it's like the tale of there was the first period and then it was the rest of the game. Because if you bring it up for the shots in the first period, Abby got outshot 18-17 by Texas. And then after that, it was pretty much even. Texas out shooting them 10-11 in the third period, but they were even 7-7 in the second period. So out if you delete that first period, then you're looking at a 2-1 game, which is pretty much more similar to what we were seeing from Texas and Abbotsford when they were playing up here in BC.
Absolutely. Yeah, that first period was just Texas capitalized on the energy and Abbotsford just wasn't really ready. They did skate this morning and maybe the fatigue from I saw someone in chat bring up the heat and you heard Brandon Assel talking about it, the play-by-play. She said it's like getting slapped in the face with with a hot wall.
Mhm.
It's similar to Mexican heat or when you're in the desert in Vegas, which is something that these boys are not really used to, and
Mhm.
even just in the day to day life like that is kind of hard on the body. But they did get in early yesterday, so they did have a day to adjust. So they are fresh, but it's getting late in the playoffs. These guys are young. They probably have injuries. And bumps and bruises they've never really experienced before. So it's time to dig deep, and we'll see what Manny does to adjust. Abbotsford has yet to lose 2 games in a row this postseason. They have bounced back really well after a loss. So I would expect the coaches to have a good dissection of what happened tonight. The boys probably get a good talking to about staying disciplined and out of the box and playing their style of game with high energy. But you gotta keep it clean.
Speaking of keeping it clean, I'll pull it up here, everyone. Okay, so we got Huru, which is like Atu. But yeah, if you look through all these penalties, there's a lot of penalties here. There is no Sammy Blais penalties anywhere here. Sammy Blais made it through an entire hockey game without taking a penalty. He was playing hard, but he managed to keep within himself and didn't take any penalties. So that's got to be a good sign moving forward as well, as he was able to keep his calm a little more.
Yeah. No, it's good. He's playing within himself, which is nice. You need guys like that to do that, and I'm sure he got that talk after the Eagles series, because he has been far more effective in all 3 of these games so far in this series. But Arshdeep, tough one getting in there and maybe a chance at a 5-on-3 there.
Yeah.
And then it turns into the shorthanded goal against as well, because Abbotsford did let Texas kind of get under their skin a bit tonight.
Yeah.
And that again is the young team, and just learning something every game is what these Abbotsford Canucks have done all playoffs long, and hopefully they are able to do that again tonight and bounce back on Wednesday.
So it's always a little harder to decide who gets the 3 stars in a loss, especially when it's a bit of a lopsided one. If you're picking the 3 stars of the game in this 5-2 loss against the Texas Stars, who are you giving those 3 stars to?
Oh, probably Blumel's probably first star. He had a pretty good game, even power play goal, shorthanded goal. He had about 3 or 4 other really, really good chances.
Yeah.
Like he was all over the place. Second star. Ooh, that's a tough one. Maybe Huru for a couple of assists.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I'm giving it, I'd probably give it to Carlson, because he had a really good game for Abbotsford.
Mm-hmm.
However, it's Texas and away, so they probably threw it to one of the other guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Cole Lind or Strangest, one of the goal scorers.
Yeah, you got pretty much all of it. Blumel ends up getting the first star with his 2 goals. They gave it to Caro with a goal and an assist. And then Stranges with his 1 goal apparently is better than Carlson with a goal and an assist. So even though, like we said, it is a 5-2 score, it didn't feel like a 5-2 game. So I feel like you're right. Carlson probably should have gotten a bone thrown his way and gotten the 3rd star. But you know what? We're gonna get too upset about it, because we're gonna sweep the 3 stars in the next game, right?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. And then the last thing I want to just quickly chat about is obviously Silovs hanging in there, making some incredible saves. Like some of them, I wasn't even sure if he made the save. It looked like it might have just gone wide. But it could have probably been even more of a lopsided victory if he doesn't lay out like that, more of like an 8-2 game or something like that. Not a game 2, but still looking like he has some more stuff in the tank for the next game.
Definitely. He has bounced back incredibly after a loss this entire playoff run, as has the entire team. So, I would expect a minor shuffle in the lineup from Manny, because I'm sure he wasn't happy with what he saw overall tonight. And we'll see who's out there Wednesday. And the first 5 minutes of that game are going to be very important. If they score first, they really have to build on that and get the second goal. They can't give it back as quickly as they did tonight. and they certainly can't come out of the first period behind because, both these teams, we talked about it in game one. If they're leading after the first period, they are undefeated. So either one of these teams carries that lead out of the first. They have a pretty good track record going. So hopefully we can have a strong first period next game and play the style that we've become accustomed to watching these playoffs so far.
It's actually funny. The last thing I'll show everyone before we go, this is the shot chart that we've been looking at the last couple games. They flipped it because Abby's away, so Abby's orange now. This is the first time where you look at the kind of the middle here, and the Abby shots are all being kept to the outside. They have a bunch in from in close, but you can even see on the Texas side, there's a lot more shots right in the slot here in the high, right down low, right in front of Archer Silovs. So that's something that you're going to have to clean up for the next game because that was definitely a tougher game in the defensive zone than they've seen recently.
Yeah, definitely the hardest Silovs has had to work in a few games. That's for sure.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to chat before I let you go for the night, brother?
Oh, thanks as always for hanging out. Tough loss tonight, but you know what? We're up in the series. We'll be here for you guys on Wednesday night. Actually, I might not be here Wednesday.
Yeah, it's all good. Let me know.
My internet is getting disconnected.
Yeah.
In the process of moving.
Oh yeah.
Houses. So we will be in touch. But hopefully we're not disconnected for too long. And hopefully we got a good Wednesday night. And appreciate everyone tuning in as always. And let's continue that push to 1,000 subs.
Cool, brother. Thank you very much for stopping by, and we'll chat soon.
Sounds good. Have a great night.
Nothing is perfect.